Right, the moment of truth. The moment of truth. So here goes the first ever crank in the DSG Caddy. Lights are on. Send it. She cranks. She cranks. Oh my days. Right, got to be fuel. Has to be fuel related. It's got to be fuel. She cranks. We are not far away. We are not far away. I'm missing something. I've also noticed on my secondary fuel pump there's a fuel line missing there. Well, it's not going to start with that unplugged, is it? You absolute complete. I thought it was DPF related. Sausage. It's very low on diesel, so it may need a trickle of diesel. Clamp on. Clamp on. Please start. How far away? How far away, you little bugger? She is beautiful. She is beautiful. Secondary fuel pump is in. It's wired in. Good earth. Might just be low on diesel. Might just have no diesel. I don't think I've got diesel here. So I've redone all the earths. I've rechecked every cable. The secondary fuel pump, I've primed that using VCDS as well. So what I'm going to plan to do is, right. Oh. Wrong key. I've got a battery on. I'm going to plug in my secondary fuel pump, temporarily tap in. I'm going to press my foot on the brake and we're going to go for it. That started. Woo! Wow, she runs. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, right. I think I need to start putting things back together because I'm lost for words. Absolutely lost for words. What I can't understand is why it cranks so much. honestly. Right. I think I need a moment. And I still don't know what it is yet. What I start to feel is the brake pedal on, when I just started up a second time, the brake pedal was a lot looser, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? It had a lot of pressure in, where I know that I haven't got a vac line connected at the back here, just down here, this vac thing here, because for some reason I've lost the plug and I can't find where it is, so I need to, that's not connected, so that could be another reason why we're getting or it's not starting every time. So what I need to do, I need to just get this thing back together, get all the plugs back in. I haven't got a DPF for it yet. I need to get a DPF for Bonnie Blue, because I use Bonnie Blues on my Caddy, so I need to get a new DPF. Obviously a nice cuddle DPF for Bonnie Blue, but I know that I can drop the subframe and put that back in from the bottom. I know I can do that. I just need to get it running and driving. Wow, this has been a challenge, but at least we know that the 2 litre 140 Cr engine is back running again. Now, I didn't dare put it into gear then. I want to get everything connected back up before I try and put it into gear. That's the next stage. Let's get cracking. Right, so next we need to get removed is some of the manual gear. So I've just disconnected this pipe here. Now what I did do is I put a clamp on the hose so all the brake fluid didn't just pee all over. And this is the clutch, the pipe that goes from your gearbox on a manual to your clutch master cylinder. So we don't need that, so that can go now. So now that's removed, I need to remove the master cylinder, the clutch pedal and the brake pedal and replace that in a minute. But for now, what I need to do is get the pipes at the back on. So there's 2 coolant pipes that sit right at the back of the engine block that need connecting up. So they are both done now. Then we need to get the rad pack on, get the coolant hose connected. I need to change these 2 ends because they're from the Golf and they're different now, so I need to get them 2 changed. I need to get the battery tray. Now if you're still here, do me a massive favour, smash that like and smash that subscribe button. I want to see us get to 5,000 subscribers off the back of this video. So do me a favour, hit the like, hit the subscribe button and then hit the bell notification so I know you guys are seeing the content when it comes out. So all I'm doing here is just loom taping all of the wiring. Now I'm going to do a separate video on the DSG and all the wiring on the DSG because it's very straightforward to do, and actually I think the majority of people will be able to do it themselves. So all I'm doing now is just fitting the battery tray, putting the battery back in, putting all the hoses back on. Now if you want to go and watch an in-depth video, go and check out the Cr140 because most people will do a manual, and if you just want to see the engine get put in and the wiring get complete, go and do that. But we are going to cover off the wiring in the next video, and that'll be an in-depth 2 litre wiring, and also it'll cover off the DSG as well because I know you guys really want to see the wiring on the DSG side. I don't know why I cut it, I have no idea. So I've got to re-crimp that. There's 2 wires here, and I assumed one of them was the feed for the MAF, but it's not. So I need to re-crimp them 2 back together, and then that'll give me my plug for the airlines, which will give me pressure to my brake, which I then think that means that'll hopefully fix the starting issue. But I hope she's going to run because I've gone this far. I've got the headlights back in, I've got the rad pack back in. I just need to connect the 2 the boost pipes onto the intercooler, get that in, and then hopefully we can take Bonnie Blue for a spin. But I've not even started on the inside. I still need to look at that secondary fuel pump. But again, another piece we could get done very quickly is just connecting up this airbag and get this airbag back in because we have got airbag faults. So a quick little push of this onto there, push that white clip down like so. That is our airbag back in. Now the airbag should should just push. So then we've got the majority of this engine bay done now. I need to put this pipe on which connects to the airflow box. I need to wrap all the wires up at the back, but if you notice, I leave them until last. I give it a couple of weeks running before I'll wrap them up. I still have to do the wire for the coolant temperature sensor. This is the wire here that runs all the way through the back of the cab and behind the back to the secondary relay. I need to do that. I need to also find where my headlight plug is, because for some reason I've lost it. It's down here somewhere, probably under the battery tray, no doubt. So I need to dig that out. But then we turn our attention to the inside. So what I've just done is there is 3 13mm nuts on the underneath of where the clutch is. So if you ever replace the master cylinder, you've got to move this little black thing out the way, move your side trims out the way, and your master cylinder and clutch pedal should, again, you can remove that. I know I don't need to, so just ever so slightly, a bit of wiggling, and there's your clutch pedal and your master cylinder dropped out. Now obviously we don't need this because we are going cool, we are going DS of the G, so we do not need this. But there's your master cylinder, and that sits there in the back of your clutch pedal. So let's get rid of that, we don't need that anymore. And then we need to get, so on the brake pedal, see them 3 little white dots there? You can probably only see 2 in the image, but you've got to push them in both sides, and you've got to release a ball bearing that sits inside the back of this ball joint here. Now it's very tricky, very hard, and you've also got, I think it's a 15 or 14 mil up there that you've got to disconnect. So you've got to get a ratchet on both sides or a spanner on both sides, disconnect it, and then get it out of that white little ball thing. And it is a pain in the backside, but let me show you on the workbench, because what you're doing is you're actually releasing these 3 little bits here. So if you can see, this is the brake pedal we need to put in, and I think if you can look there, you can just see that the ball sits in the back there. So there must be a way the ball just sits in the back of that little white chassis there. So there's got to be a way of getting out nice and easy. I just haven't quite worked it out yet. But like you say, bolt the top, and then I just had to push them in and sort of slide that white thing out. Now I'm not going to record it because it's just going to be so tight of a space to get in and record, but I think you understand what I mean now. Is take the bolt out the top and then somehow get a screwdriver in either side on there and just prise that white little thing out. Right, so I managed to get the brake pedal in, so that's that bit done now, which is perfect. I still need to run all the wiring behind the back of the dash, but I'm going to do that once I'm happy with everything, because I need to start soldering the connection. These crimps are only very much temporary, and then what I do is solder them and sort of cover them. So you'll notice that this is wrapped up with a little bit of loom tape here just to keep it out of the way, but you'll notice I've kept the connection there so I can solder them together, put some sleeving over the top, and that'll be done. So brake pedal's in, clutch is gone now, so I probably need to find a plate, like a blanking plate that goes over the top of that. I reckon they'll do them on eBay, so I will have a look at that. And I have got the new gear selector shifter getting sent out off somebody else online, so they're going to send that out, so that's that bit done. Before I do that, when I turn the van on, there's still something not quite right with the brake pedal. I need to have a look at that when I get a minute. It still starts, it still cranks, which is good, but cranks a little bit more than what I'd expect, so something's not 100% right yet. So what I then need to do is I need to get the coolant temperature sensor done. So the fans just come on straight away. Now on the Caddy loom, sorry, on the Golf loom, there's a T10A plug. On the Caddy loom, there's not a T10A plug, there's a T14 plug by the looks of it. But before I do that, before I start repinning, I've got to read the code and take a copy of what I've got as is now. And the reason for that is, if we don't take a reading now on VCDS, if we make any changes, we don't know if we've made it better or made it worse. Now I'm expecting codes for EGR, I'm expecting codes for DPF, because I haven't got them plugged in, but I shouldn't have a MAF code. I should have a temperature sensor, and I should have a secondary fuel pump, I believe. I think that's all I should have. But it says I've got some codes on the engine, which is fine. So boost pressure control valve solenoid, boost pressure, so again must be related to that off the back of the DPF. Let me just clear these codes down because there's a MAF code there. So valve for fuel metering, that's probably because I haven't got there's a plug that sits on the right hand side just down here that connects to the top of the DPF. So valve for fuel metering is open. Fuel pressure regulator valve, again that could be the same thing. I need to get the DPF up and in there so I can check that out. Relay for fuel pump 2. Now that's that one wire that I've got left, and I'm now totally forgot when I'd done the secondary fuel pump on the Caddy over there, I had to run that wire from here all the way to the T10 or T14 plug at the front. So I've got to do that again. I've ran the wire, I just need to terminate that, and so we'll do that in a minute. And that should get rid of our relay for fuel pump 2 circuit open. That should get rid of that one. EGR, fine, we don't need to worry about that. Engine coolant temperature sensor on radiator outlet. So that is why the fans are always coming on again. Boost pressure again could be related to that. EGR. Okay. So I think I get the majority of these taken off. So I know roughly where to start. Let's get repinning, depinning some of these wires on the front into that T14 from the T10 plug. Let's get the secondary fuel pump wire in there as well, the relay one. And then I think we're looking good. So in my Caddy wiring conversion, I didn't need to do this, but I've got my head around it now. So the yellow and the brown, obviously I've moved for the secondary. Let me have a look. So this is the wiring loom for the Golf, right? And this also was there, but remember the Caddy doesn't have a T10. So the brown and the yellow, which are inside pins 2 and 3 on the T10, just cut the brown and the yellow, and then if you look on your Caddy plug, if you've got a T10 you're probably going to be fine. If you haven't got a T10 plug, then that's where you need to repin them new ones in. So I've pinned them into pin 11 for the yellow, which is this one, and pin 13 for the brown. And that's because on the Caddy, pins 11 and 13 are yellow and brown, so they match. So that's all I'm doing, matching them two colours up. Now the next one is the secondary fuel pump, which I know it's pin 1 on the T10. So this T10 needs to go into the engine side of the plug. So I'm going to put it in pin 2 on this plug. Then on the Caddy one, I'm then going to put in pin 2 on the Caddy side one, the wire, which is this wire that you've already seen, that runs all the way around the outside and back to the secondary fuel pump. And I think that will fix that code. And I will be bringing a full video out on the wiring to go through all of this, because obviously I need to do all the DSG wiring and everything else. I need to tell you about all of that. Next video, another video, I'll bring all the wiring out. I'll do diagrams, I'll do everything, so you guys have got all the information that you need to do yours. Right, so it looks messy, but it isn't. So what I've done is took what was a T10 plug, pin 1, that's for the relay. So pin 1 is a black brown, that is the engine loom on these older style wire looms in the T10. So I just took that out of there and I pinned it into the engine side here. So that's the engine side T14 plug. I just used a spare hole, so pin 2 was free. I put it inside pin 2. Then what I've done is pinned out again on pin 2 on the Caddy side, and that wire goes all the way back to the secondary fuel pump. So I expect to see less than 8 volt cords again, but I don't expect to see a secondary fuel pump, exhaust gas, EGR, EGR, DPF, EGR, lambda sensor, exhaust gas, EGR again, EGR. Brilliant. We've got no cords for our secondary fuel pump or our temperature radiator sensor, or secondary temperature radiator sensor. We've not got any of them cords now, so I've got rid of them. So all I've got left is DPF, EGR. I know why, I've not even got the DPF connected. It's on the floor in front of the Caddy. So the next thing to do, and this just goes on and on and on, make sure you put your DPFs back on. I need to get the DPF back on to the Caddy. To do that, it's either engine out or subframe drop. So next thing I need to get done is remove this subframe. Now, on your arse, it's a pain in the arse, but in a nutshell, we've got a bolt that goes up through here into the chassis. We've got a bolt that goes up here into the chassis, and then we've got another bolt which goes up at the back into the chassis. I think there's about 6 bolts. So all I do is get the van lifted up, put loads of jacks underneath. You've got to be careful when you're doing this on your driveway, right? Get a jack under there, put a block of wood on top of it, take your bolts out this side, take your bolts out the other side, and that subframe should lower down. I need to take this bolt out of this dog bone mount here. I need to do that, disconnect that, get that out the way, and then that subframe should just drop off nice and easy. So hopefully you guys can see this. The subframe is just somewhat lowered, so I've had to do the drop links, I've had to disconnect the steering rack and this I think it's a sway bar. I've had to disconnect that, so there's about 4 or 5 bolts left hand side, 4 or 5 bolts on the right hand side. Now it's going to be hard for me to film this. I'll try my best without killing myself somewhere, shape or form, to drop this subframe out slowly and to show you guys what it does. So just try and slowly lower that. Oh, there we go. Just slowly dropping it down. I don't need to go right out the way down. You know, it's probably stuck somewhere up on the steering rack. So for those who don't know, the DPF sits right up the back, up there. Now there's a small little gap through that hole there that you supposedly, if you just crawl underneath here, you can pull it through and then up. Now I have done this on my Caddy the other day. It was a bit of a pain in the arse, but I managed to get it through. Now I have dropped this subframe right down, so I'm hoping that I can do this on my own without needing an extra pair of hands. But you can see subframe is a couple of inches off. I'm trying not to move it. I want it to just go straight back up into its same spot, same position, but you know, you guys will get the gist. This Halfords jack, by the way, people have always slated in the comments this Halfords jack. Look at how handy it is just for doing these small little bits of leverage, etc. It's absolutely fantastic. So don't knock a Halfords jack until you try it. But I do need to get myself another big jack like that red one over there. So I've got an axle stand under there. I've got the orange one sat there just in case it went to drop. I'd have another axle stand there. I've got the jack over that side. I've got a tyre under that side. I've got every other control and measure to stop things falling on me. And this is the DPF. Excuse the mess. This is the DPF that needs to go up. And you can see it just sort of connects exhaust side. This hasn't got a DPF delete on this one. So I'm just going to chuck it up and hopefully hope for the best. So I've managed to just get the DPF up there. Just needs a little wiggle and a move around now. I'm going to put the bracket back on the bottom, and then I need to just reconnect the subframe up. You can see it's currently not lining up there, so you just need to pull it this way a little bit, reconnect the subframe, and yeah, we should be good to go. We'll start connecting the DPF up on the top. But I'm not going to lie, they're a right pain. Let me just squeeze my camera down the back there, the top of the DPF there. So just need to get that just squeezed in, but it's a nightmare. It's not an easy job, but I suppose it's better than paying someone, right? Let's get it on, let's get it plugged in, and let's get them cords cleared. Right, so got the DPF up and back on its bracket. So I just need to wiggle it around and get it connected now against the exhaust. I'm trying to get you in there so I can show you guys, but it's going to be quite tight. There's just an exhaust outlet somewhere. Maybe you'll see it there. Very tight in there. Well, basically just here is the turbo and the DPF outlet connects into the turbo. Now there's a little washer or a little silver grommet you need to put around that, which looks like this. So this sits in the DPF side like so, and then connects against your turbo, basically stops it whistling. This is an old one, so I might have to get a new one. I did have a new one somewhere, so let's dig it out, but let's get that in, let's get the DPF connected, and then all we need to do is plug in a couple of plugs. So we've got this plug here that connects into it. We've got two plugs which are here, which are like your O2, your oxygen sensors, etc. And there's one more just down the back. Let me get it finished up, and that'll be that done. But I don't want anyone saying that you can't do this on the driveway. Now, yes, you've got to be very, very careful what you're doing. Like, you know, you'll see there, I've got 4 axle stands, I've got a tyre under either side, I've got everything there because, let's be honest, it is very dangerous. And this would take 10 minutes. It's not took me too long, to be honest with you. Dropping the subframe is probably the hardest part, is getting the rusty bolts out from the drop links and the bottom arm. That's the hardest part. Other than that, it's fairly straightforward. So for those who are wondering how to drop the subframe, so what you do is take your drive shaft, this drive shaft's already out, but I reckon you just get your drive shaft out the way, get your bottom arm out the way, take your drop link out the way, and then literally you've got nothing that's in the way. And then all you need to do is undo the bolts underneath, like I told you, them 6 bolts. And then inside, I don't want to open the door yet, I have just dropped the steering. Let me show you. I have just dropped the steering just ever so slightly out of that steering rack there. And there's literally 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts under there that just bolt that in. And then all I'm going to do is twist that back up, bolt it back in, and I haven't had to fully disconnect it from the steering rack. When I talk about using my Halford jack, I just wanted to show you this. So what I do is, so see the subframe just there, it's not far away from the hole, but it needs to come this way ever so slightly. So what I'm going to do is just pull it this way on that jack ever so slightly, and then as I jack that up, I'm trying to line up that with the hole underneath. It's probably there or thereabouts now, and then all I do is use that little daft Halford jack that I've always said that I use for leverage. And I just pump the jack up, and I'm hoping just to get that. See how it's not far away, but it needs to go further that way just to get it lined up. And that's it. And that leaves me with where I am right now. I've had the remapping lads come out. A guy called Craig, based in Teesside, lovely fella. It is a paid service, I have paid for it. So, you know, just to let you guys know, he is good at what he does, and he did sort out some of the faults. So let me show you what's happening with the van now. So I've got 1 or 2 little bolts I just need to wrap up and get all this back together. I do need a new ball joint. So as you can see, the bottom ball joint snapped there, so I need to get a new ball joint before I can drive it. It actually snapped on 2 areas there, not just 1, so it's a pain in the backside, but it means I've just got to go and pick up a new ball joint today. So I need to pick up a ball joint today. I need to pick up an exhaust clamp, because on the underneath I haven't got the exhausts clamped together yet. So I need to do that. And then what I need to do, and now it's like tidying everything back up. Now for some reason my secondary fuel pump is not working right. the relay. So when I put a direct feed into it straight away, it works perfect. So I need to go back to the wiring diagrams and have a look exactly what is what. So it currently runs, I've got 2 lights on the right hand side, nothing's connected yet. Steering wheel, power steering light will go as well. I have got an EGR light and the lad did come out and remap it, so I need to double check it and make sure everything's right. But ultimately, we've now got the Caddy with a Golf engine inside it, DSG's in there, so the next thing we need to do is get it moving. But you know what? We're going to wait out for the next episode. So guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.